I call this session of the Upshur County Commission order. We will begin with a moment of silent meditation and prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please guide me. Slide the minutes, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Doug.
Upshur County Commission meeting, special meeting, April 15, 2014. The County Commission of Upshur County, West Virginia held a special statutory meeting at the Courthouse Annex on Tuesday, April 15, 2014 at 10 a.m. J.C. Rafferty called the meeting to order. There were present J.C. Rafferty, Commissioner, Donnie Kenny, Commissioner, Troy Brady, Commissioner, and Terry Wallace, Assistant Administrator. The purpose of the meeting was to hear comments and or objections to the proposed budget for fiscal year 2014-2015 and to the levy rates. Copies of the fiscal year 2014-2015 budget, including the levy rate sheet and certificate evaluation, were available for inspection and review. J.C. Rafferty advised that the Office of the State Auditor had issued a notice of approval of the levy estimate dated March 28, 2014. No one was present to present any comments on the proposed budget. After discussion on motion by Donnie Kenny, seconded by Troy Brady, the Commission adopted the fiscal year 2014-2015 budget and levy rate sheet as presented. With no further business, on motion by Donnie Kenny, seconded by Troy Brady, the Commission meeting adjourned at 10:15 a.m.
Any corrections or additions to the minutes as read?
Move to be approved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, thank you, Jackie.
April 17, 2014, the County Commission of Upshur County, West Virginia held their regular meeting at the Courthouse Annex on Thursday, April 17, 2014 at 9 a.m. J.C. Rafferty called the meeting to order. There were present J.C. Rafferty, Commissioner, Donnie Kenny, Commissioner, Troy Brady, Commissioner, Terry Wallace, Assistant County Administrator, and Jacqueline Dinklocker, Secretary. The meeting began with a moment of silent meditation prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. All motions passed unanimously unless otherwise stated. After reading of the minutes on motion by Donnie Kenny, seconded by Troy Brady, the Commission approved the regular meeting minutes of April 10, 2014 as submitted. J.C. Rafferty reviewed several complaints that were filed with the Safe Structures and Sites Enforcement Board. After following recommended procedure, the Enforcement Board has turned 6 cases over to the Commission for action. After discussion on motion by Troy Brady, seconded by Donnie Kenny, the Commission approved the Commission to sign and send correspondence to the property owners as listed, directing them to correct any and all unsanitary conditions and to bring the property into compliance with the Safe Structures and Sites Ordinance. Eric Loudon, Marlon Loudon, Idella Loudon, case number 051211-01. Philip Lance, case number 050913-07. John R. Simons, Rita F. Simons, case number 051211-01. Trent A. Davison, Travis S. Davison, case number 050913-04. Leonard Tenney, Laura Tenney, case 050913-03. Danny Heater, Shirley Heater, case 041212-01. Upon failure of compliance, the Commission may follow up with further action. After discussion on motion by Donnie Tenney, seconded by Troy Brady, the Commission approved the order for the removal of Roger Everett as executor for the estate of Mary Louise Strader and the appointment of Sheriff of Upshur County as executor. Terry Wallace provided A review of the Fair Housing Resolution, which encourages all citizens to support the practice and policies of fair housing in their personal lives as well as their workday duties, and to discourage discriminatory housing practices. After discussion on motion by Troy Brady, second by Donnie Kenny, the Commission approved and authorized the President to sign the Fair Housing Resolution, which designates the month of April 2014 as Fair Housing Month in Upshur County. J.C. Rafferty reviewed a request from Judge Kerr Hall requesting telephone service to be installed in the courtroom. No action was required. Kerry Wallace was requested to follow up with the phone company to get the installation scheduled. J.C. Rafferty reviewed the request from April Small, Stockert Youth Center after-school volunteer coordinator to receive season pool passes and day passes for program participants at a reduced cost. After discussion on motion by Troy Brady, second by Donnie Kenny, the Commission approves the request for season passes at the rate of $40 per child and day passes at the rate of $3 per child as requested. J.C. Rafferty reviewed the following for your information items. Number 1, Regional Jail Bill, March 2014. 2, Sheriff's Financial Statement, March 2014. 3, Community Corrections Donation to Lewis Upshur Animal Control Facility. 4, Correspondence from U.S. Senator Joe Manchin. 3, H.R. 3370, Homeowners Flood Insurance Affordability Act. 4, Correspondence from Upshur County Library Board concerning the Phillips property. 6, Agendas and/or notices of meetings as listed. 7, meeting minutes and/or financial reports as listed. 8, meetings as listed. 9, appointments needed or upcoming as listed. Rick Edwards, the Cannon Upshur Recreational Park Advisory Board member, appeared before the Commission and advised that a meeting for the purpose of determining scheduling and funding of sports events at the Upshur County Wellness Complex will be held on Monday, May 12, in the Upshur County Commission meeting room. Mr. Edwards encouraged organizers of sports groups, church coaches, parents, and all interested parties to attend the meeting. The Commission recessed at 9:35 a.m. The Commission reconvened at 9:45 a.m. Sheriff David Kaufman and Michael Kelly, Chief Deputy Law Enforcement, appeared before the Commission to discuss staffing and scheduling options for upcoming trials and events and court security concerns as related to budgetary issues. And that's a report only, it was not on the agenda. At 10:10 a.m., the Commission opened bids for E911 Communications Center radio improvements. One bid was received. Lloyd's Electronics submitted a bid in the amount of $19,552.17. J.C. Rafferty advised that Steve Linger, E911 Communications Center Director, and Dirk Burnside, Telecommunications Advisor, will be requested to review the bids to make sure all specifications have been met. The item will be placed on next week's agenda for approval. The Commission approved all invoices for payment. The Commission approved all vacation orders. The Commission approved the following settlements as listed. With no further business, on motion by Troy Brady, second by Donnie Kenny, the Commission meeting adjourned at 11 a.m.
Thank you, Jackie. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes as needed? Or is ready? If not, I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye. Same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Jack. Okay, we have a 9:30 off the agenda meeting with the Elkins Public Service District. So before we have that presentation, we will follow some of the items for discussion, action, and approval. We have approval of early voting election workers for the May 2014 primary, submitted by the county clerk. And this is a letter dated April 24th, 2014, requesting to approve the hiring of early voting clerks, Peter Zayas, Irene Andrew, Dana Wentz, Judith Miles, Philip Murphy, Betty Hebner, Janet K. Wilson, William Shannon, James Vance, Catherine Vance, Beulah Riffle, Margaret Neely, Betty Oldicker, and Phyllis Stacker for the May 2014 primary election. The positions are temporary, starting April 30, 2014, ending May 10, 2014, at the rate of $7.25 per hour. Do I have a motion to approve that request of the Upshur County Clerk?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next, we have a request from the Buchanan Academy Elementary School for a pass school for the swimming pool. Is a letter, does not have a date on it, but it's from Buchanan Academy Elementary School PTO, our teachers organization. It advises that the Academy School serves over 600 students in grades kindergarten through 5th, and this year's school's parent-teacher organization efforts on fundraising for a new playground for the students. The current playground is wooden and the boards are rotting, nails are coming loose, and the structure is deteriorating. Our next fundraiser is a school carnival to be held on April 26th, where they will have games, concessions, and a raffle. Okay. And we are asking for support in the form of a pool pass for a family of 4.
What's the value of that?
$200.
$200?
In the past, for the band, for the carnival, you all donated 10 one-day passes, which would be in the amount of $30. I would suggest that we be consistent in our donations and probably give them the same thing that we had given the band.
Yeah, I think that's a little more in line, so.
I'm sorry.
I would move that we follow that recommendation. We give 10 one-day passes.
Okay, is there a motion to that?
I'm so moved. Second.
Second, motion seconded. Is there a vote? Say aye, or all in favor say aye. All opposed? So your coughing did it to me.
I know.
Get that cough drop there. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have Solid Waste Authority Board reappointment of James S. Holland III. That's a letter dated April 15th to Megan Pomeroy from Burl Smith, Director of the Upshur County Solid Waste Authority. At the April 14th meeting, Upshur County Solid Waste Authority, the board recommend the Upshur County Commission reappoint James S. Holland III, J. Holland, whose address is 198 Colony Oaks Drive, McAllen, West Virginia, to serve as one of 2 appointees of the Upshur County Commission to the Upshur County Solid Waste Authority. Term of appointments for a 4-year term to expire June 30, 2018. Is there a motion to approve that recommendation?
So moved. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Motion carries. Next we have resignation of Jessica Bailey, Jessie Bailey, from the Upshur County Assessor's Office. By letter dated April 14, Jessica Bailey submitted a resignation, requesting her last day be April 25, 2014. Not an easy decision to make, as this job provided a good salary and benefits, but I've been offered a job to return to work in veterinary science, veterinary medicine, excuse me. And she'll be attending school this fall to train in this career choice. Do I have a motion to accept Mrs. Bailey's request?
So moved. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next, we have the appointment of Kirsten A. Hall as a full-time regular dispatcher, E911, by letter dated April 14, 2014, from Steve Linger, Director of Upshur County Communications, 911. Advancement of Kirsten A. Hall to full-time regular dispatcher after reviewing her training reports, discussing progress with her trainer, and working several hours with Kirsten, her trainer, and I feel she has advanced in her training to warrant advancement to full-time dispatcher and finish her basic training program. Kristen has worked hard and surpassed my expectations during her training period. With your approval, Kristen Hall will be advanced to full-time dispatcher at her current rate of pay, $10 per hour, on April 20, 2014. Respectfully submitted, Stephen Linger. Do I have a motion to approve that recommendation of Director Linger?
So moved. Second.
Both moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have a bid on the E911 radio and console bid. The bids were unsealed last week. Lloyd's Electronics was the lowest and only bidder for that project. We requested that the bid be approved, or be reviewed, I should say, by Steve Linger Director of 911, and Dirk Burnside, a technical advisor for that. They have both responded that the bid that was submitted by Lloyd's is in compliance with our requested outline, and I recommend that we approve that bid. Do I have a motion to approve that bid as recommended?
So moved. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. Next, going down, we have for your information items, Upshur County E911 Communications Center reports from March 14th with a monthly summary report, monthly departmental summary report, and monthly year-to-date record report. Are there any questions by the commissioners relative to that review of those reports, I should say? Okay, moving down to the next item, Office of Upshur County Assessor, a job posting for Deputy Assessor. Submitted by the Office of Assessor Helen Phillips, and is basically advertising for one full-time benefited position of Deputy Assessor with a starting salary of $8 per hour. And the individual selected will perform the various duties and responsibilities of the Deputy Assessor as required. The individuals must submit a completed application before close of business Friday, May 2nd, 2014. And individuals may pick up applications at the Office of Upshur County Assessor, located on the first floor of the Upshur County Courthouse Annex, returning those applications, completed applications, to the Office of Upshur Assessor Helen Phillips. And goes on to say the requirements here. Is there a motion to approve this request to accept applications for that vacancy?
Do we know if this position is being paid out of the nominal, or the valuation fund?
It is, so it's just an FYI.
Right, so we have nothing in there.
Authority, right? Okay, correspondence from Delegate Smith, which is delegate of partial Upshur County, to Tomlin regarding Upshur County's request for the State Department of Highways to take over the responsibility for the bridge at the Upshur County Youth Camp. This is a letter dated April 17th to Governor Earl Ray Tomlin. To Governor Tomlin, I enclosed a letter from the Upshur County Commission requesting the ownership of the Upshur County Youth Camp Bridge, currently owned by Upshur County, be changed to a state-owned bridge. It is the only bridge that is currently owned by Upshur County. Delegate Peggy Donaldson Smith requests that, or indicates that she supports this request and would appreciate assistance in this matter.
Do we have letters from any of the others that we sent, where they sent letters requesting?
I don't believe we've received any at this point. But they have gone on record, I believe, verbally, that they supported the position.
Always good to have them ready.
Oh, yes. Agendas and notices of meetings, City Council of Buchanan, April 17. City Council of Buchanan, special meeting April 15, and Upshur County Fire Board, April 17, 2014. We have the minutes of the most recent Upshur County Fire Board, February 20, 2014, as well as dates and times of meetings of the regular boards that we attend. Any comments regarding those issues or those items? We still have about 7 minutes for, yes, I did actually, for the last item. I guess I have to recuse myself. Good morning, everybody. They're filtering in. Come on in. Come on in, sir. If you find a seat, there's some available over in this corner. We have about 7 or 8 minutes prior to the next appointment. Well, it is not an appointment, this is a requested presentation before the commission. It is not on the agenda, so for the purpose of this meeting, we can hear your discussion of the issues that are at hand, but because the item is not on this week's agenda, we cannot make a decision and cannot deliberate relative to a decision on this matter until we have an official agenda item, which will most likely be next week. So we can listen to your discussion on the item to be presented, but we cannot make a decision today. And since we have 7 minutes and we've gone through all of the other items, I would suggest we take a short recess. Would that be, short recess? And I was going to reach for the gavel. I'll call this meeting of the county commission, Upshur County Commission back to order. We have a presentation today relative to the Elkins Public Service District, and we have Region 7 Representative Kerry Rohr. Smith. I know you was Kerry Rohr years ago.
I'm Carrie Smith with Region 7 Planning and Development Council, and I am here on behalf of the Elkins Road PSD. They are requesting, which obviously is just hearing today, for the submission for the Small Cities Block Grant application, which they hope to be sponsored by the Upshur County Commission. As part of the Small Cities Block Grant requirement, you're required to hold a public hearing, which was advertised in the Record Delta on April 16th. The public hearing allows an opportunity for public comment for the proposed project. The Small Cities Block Grant application for the project is May 21st, 2014, and the maximum amount that the PSD can ask for this type of project is $1.5 million in grant dollars. Currently, for this year's Small Cities Block Grant program, they have an estimated of $13 million available for this fiscal year. However, from previous obligations where they have split year funding, where they've obligated a portion of the money from where they've split it to design and construction, of what is left of the $13 million is a little over $4 million. They have obligated $4 million, which leaves $8.4 million to be left this year for the projects to be selected. The Small Cities Block Grant Program typically gets over $100 million in requests. So $100 million in requests with only $8.4 million available, which means the program is very competitive. So anything that the PSD can do to make the project more shovel-ready, make it more desirable to be funded is what they hope to do, because some projects have been 8-10 years before they've ever got considered to be funded. There's been projects that's been 1 year. It's a very competitive program, and so basically they have public hearing to get comments from the people that it's going to be affecting, or anything that people want to say regarding the project. That's all that I have to say. If there's any questions of me, I'd be happy to answer them.
You want to give a little synopsis of it? And then...
Sure. Well, let me go ahead and continue one thing. The project, the Elkins Road PSD project, the total project cost is $6.4 million. They do have more than one funding source that they're requesting for this project. They're requesting the $1.5 million in small cities, $750,000 in IJDC grant, $750,000 in DWTRF loan, $1,788,000 in IJDC loan, and then another $1,700,000 in a DWTRF loan, which comprises of the $6,488,000. So it's none of the other funding sources commit to that funding until the small cities money is committed for them to proceed. So and small cities only awards their funding sources one time a year, so it's all built up all year long until the selection of the project. The projects are submitted to the development office, and then the development office makes recommendations, and the governor actually makes the ultimate decision as to which projects will be selected. So if you're buying for your project, another thing to do is get in touch with your representatives to push to the governor level and make sure that they know what your project is and why you need it. And make sure to tell why you need it here today so that it's documented and included in your application, so that the people that are looking at it and rating it can see that you have a strong desire to get it funded.
Thank you, Gary. Do we have any other wishing to present? Please identify yourself, your organization, if you wish.
Hi, I'm Carrie Wagner with Elkins Road Public Service District. I also have with us today Sonny Matthews with the Elkins Road Public Service District, and we have our project engineer, Mike Johnson from Chapman Technical Group, and I'm going to let him speak here in just a minute, but I do want to thank Region 7 and the Commission for hosting us today and going through this hearing. This has been a project that's been ongoing for many years, and we've kind of had to wait in line, as Carrie said. We had to wait for Adrian projects to get funded, and you know, last year we had to support, but the funding is small, and we keep trucking on. I do want to thank all of you guys too for giving up your mornings. I know many of you are from roads that are included in the project, and I want to thank you guys for coming out and supporting us. We are doing another letter campaign right now, so if you haven't been contacted and you'd like to get a letter submitted in to go with the project, Carrie, I can't remember what the date for.
Well, the deadline for small cities is May 21st, but obviously I need it before that so that I can incorporate it into
Right,
the application.
I think that we had actually said we needed to try to have them to our office by May 10th. So anyways, I'm going to, I know Carrie's giving you a little bit of breakdown of the numbers. They were on the back page, and I'm sure Mike will give you a little bit more information going through the roads and the projects, if that's okay.
As Carrie said, my name is Mike Johnson. I'm an engineer with Chapman Technical Group. Been working with Elkins Road Public Service District on this project and previous projects. The overall project is approximately 14.5 miles of new water main, about 77,000 linear foot. The project will pick up 85 new customers. Included in that is replacing about 7,100 foot of old problematic water. The project also includes rehabilitation of 2 existing tanks. They're old, they've never been painted, they're showing signs of corrosion. Installation of generators at the main booster stations for keeping water when the power's out, and construction of a small office building. Aside from picking up the new 85 customers, some extensions will correct some existing hydraulic problems in the system, chiefly around Ellamore and the volunteer fire department. We'll also provide additional fire flow in that area. As Carrie said, the project is approximately $6.5 billion, which is a mix of loan and grant. The total grant is approximately $2.5 million, and $1.5 million is from the small cities. And as they both said, that the small cities money is hard to come by. This project is dependent on it. $1.5 million from small cities grant money is a substantial chunk of the total $6.5 million. There is an associated rate increase, which if a small city's being grant money, does minimize. Average bill would go from about $32.80 to $44.29. That's based on the typical average user in the Elkins Road system. If the PSE does receive the small cities block grant, construction will likely be in year 2016, 2017. With that, I'd be glad to entertain any additional questions.
Do you have those list of the roads that are where the water, do you have, how are they listed? I mean,
We do. We do have a copy of what roads are going to, where the new water mains are going. Read them off if you'd like. We have a map up here. Want to look at it. In no particular order, excuse me, the roads that are on the list: Beach Run, Hawkins Road, Upper Childers Run, Wolf Ridge, Fort East Snyder Road, Jackson Road, Winery Road, Hedron Road, Audra Road, Braddock Lane, Radaball Ridge, I hope I said that right, Handicap Road, and Osborne Run Road. When we, initially when we started, we talked to GSD and figured out, okay, who all wants water? Where could we put water lines to serve the needy customers? Ultimately, it does come down to funding and money. So from 2007, when we started this process, we did estimates how much money it's going to take to serve each of these roads. And it really boils down to cost per customer. So as time went on, we progressed and saw what monies would be available, how much debt service the PSD and the customers could stomach. Because a good portion of this is loan. We're trying to get some grant money, so it's not all loan, but a lot of it is loan, which results in higher rates. The short of it is it comes down to cost per customer and what's economically feasible. And the roads that I just read off were determined to be economically feasible.
So with the money that you'll have, how will you decide which road? Because you're not going to be able to do them all. I mean, I don't guess you'll.
Actually, all of the roads I just read off, and if you'd like to look at the map up here afterwards or whatever, all of these are proposed to get water if we get our funding.
Okay.
You don't do partial then. If you were to get funding for $500,000 or $750,000, you wouldn't go ahead and do some of that.
I don't believe so. It's not your all's intention.
It's not our intentions, but sometimes we have had to do that. I mean, like Radaball Ridge, for instance, it ran a partial way out Radaball Ridge in the previous project, but because of the distance to the next customer and the cost that it increased the entire road by, we had to draw some points, and there's a few roads that we've had to do that too. You don't like to do that because there's a person on the other line that needs the water just the same as the person on this side of the line, but the money only goes so far. And
I think what you're concerned with is the actual funding. With small cities, they may give you a partial funding at one point, but then they would follow up the rest of it. So, and then once you get that, you're going to be getting your other loan money. As far as how far they go out the roads, all of that is going to dictate on construction costs. If you have a project that we have an estimate, if you go way above that estimate, if the contractor's price comes way above that estimate, the distance of those lines could be dictated. So it may not be that they're just entirely deleting anything. It may just be they may not have gone out a road as far as they wanted to, more based on construction costs than the actual funding scenario.
May I say something? On that road, there've been a lot more people moved in since the survey was taken, or since they come so far on that road. There's a lot more houses out there.
Which road are you
The
referring to?
Radaball Ridge Road,
Oh, okay.
the one you were talking about. And some of those places, we've had to drill three wells, and they still aren't any count. The water isn't. So.
we will have to do another income survey this summer in order to qualify for another round of applications for funding. So the actual income surveys is going to make us go door to door once again to do surveying. So we'll be taking more house counts this summer, and we'll keep updating, but the application as it goes in right now, it will have to remain in place until, another application goes in.
She's saying that because the applications are due May 21st, and we were at the brink of having to do income surveys again. And when people get income surveys, they're like, we want water, we just did this 3 years ago. Well, as part of the Small Cities Block Grant process, they are only allowing those income surveys for 3 years. So, and she's anticipating that we get funded. However, if we don't, because the
announcements for small cities don't occur until anywhere between October to January. So if they don't get them, she wanted to already have the income surveys in place prior to the application date for next year if they would not get the award. Because I know no one wants to be going out in 0-degree weather in January trying to get income surveys done before a deadline if they would not get funded. So she's being
I did
proactive with trying to do that. So if it comes up again, that's the reason why they are doing that, to be proactive for next year's application if they would not get funded.
I did the income survey for Raider Ball Ridge Road the last time, and don't mind doing it, and I'll do it again. But most of the people wanted to know what the purpose was. If it was, and then I'm asking, is it, if there were more low-income people, are we concerned that they won't be able to pay the bills? Is that why we're doing it?
No,
or-
it's part of the application process. It's a requirement for small cities block grant application that they want they qualify for small cities for low-income purposes. So the small cities block grant money, not all of that money is used for everything. It's only used for certain extensions for the ones that qualified for like the lower income. So that's the reason, it's a part of the process for small cities block grant.
So it sounds like it'll be the lower income
It's the,
areas will be put
That
to the top
parti-
of the list.
no, it's just
Okay.
that particular monies is earmarked for that section. I mean, all of the money is being used, but it just depends on where they qualified for the income surveys as to which money goes where. It's still a project as a whole, but they're using that money for different sections. Yeah, it's like different checkbooks but it all is a whole. It's just a requirement for the small cities block grant application.
So it doesn't matter whether you have water or lots of water.
For
according
the
to
small
grant.
cities portion of it, for part of their process, you have to do those income surveys.
So-
But telling you of the hardships that you're having, we include those in the applications too. If you have pictures of appliances that are orange from, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Other people are reading those applications to see what hardships that you have to overcome. The cost invoices for the cost of 3 wells, if it costs $10,000 a piece, you're putting $30,000 down. Putting that into a letter, pictures, video if you want, and including that into your application only makes your application that much stronger for you to beat out the other people that are requesting.
We just don't have the water. That's what she said.
And that's what I'm
Invoices for
saying, that's
drilling
part of your
wells.
hardship. If you're having to drive to town and get water, if you're having to go to the laundromat, tell about it, tell your story. Include it in the application because that's what's making it a stronger application.
So basically, if they get funding and there's a cut that has to be made once you receive the funding, that it'll be more
The funding
appropriate.
scenario is going to be, they're not going to give you the loan money unless you get the grant money. They're the last, once you get the grant money, your loan process is going to, that's not going to be a problem. So they're waiting on that grant money before they can release the floodgates with the other loan money. The only thing that's going to dictate really your line extensions is just if there's like a cost overrun with your construction costs. Something ran over $30,000 more on one thing. Your line length is going to dictate from your construction costs.
That can work both ways. That's
If
the
there's-
worst case, the bids came in high, we're a little short on money, we may have to start chopping some people. It's not terribly uncommon if you have money at the end of the job.
Right.
If we try to aim high, it's always good to have a little bit left. We may be able to do some additional extensions at the end, but, we're not banking on it, but it could happen.
All depends on the terrain and how much rock, that there's so many different factors you gotta look at. You
When's
never
your,
know, you might think well, I can lay 100 feet of water line, but when you hit that rock, it costs.
when's your deadline for making any corrections to what you are about to submit?
What, I don't know what kind of
Well, for
corrections.
instance, the chart that I just looked at, Mrs. Wagner said there's only 5 people on Raderball Ridge Road, but that's way off. Because there's 10.
I rode myself personally with an engineer on the whole road. I don't know if it was you, I don't remember, but the gentleman said, well, yes, you're right, there's way more than what we had. But that was maybe the original, back when it was first done, back in the,
We have 17 currently on the application. And as I said, we can continue to make some more corrections as we,
yeah, originally you
Continue to go.
probably only had 5.
Right.
Yeah.
and Charlie's worked with us a lot and tried to help us straighten that out. So I think I really think that most of the roads are pretty accurate at this point. But, I mean, it's very easy in 3 months to have a home on a road now. So, I can't say that we really haven't looked at them since last fall because it's been a terrible winter. I mean,
No.
and we really felt like that most of our numbers were pretty solid anyways.
Well, and the problem is that there's getting to be less and less money available for grant, which means the rates have to go higher to pay for it. And the farther you get out, the higher the cost per customer. So it's really the worst on both sides. There's less money, it's higher cost per customer. And the sad thing of it is, when they look at this, since there's a limited amount of money, if they can spend that money where they can get water at $25,000 per customer instead of 50, unfortunately, that's where they're going. If they can spend it somewhere in another part of the state and they can get water to twice as many people, that, unfortunately, that's the way it works. And I did see on Adrian, they have, I think, 100 letters I saw, or 100-some letters of protest of their rate increase on their proposed. So, and this is what happens. Water that started out $20 a month now is $45 a month, because that's part of the process to be able to fund it so your neighbors can have water.
You pay off the loans.
Right. So it's, and there's going to be less and less money, I think, for a lot of, when you see what's happening in the federal government, money that's being cut back.
The more line you put in, the more cost it is to upkeep.
That's exactly right. And the older they are, the more it costs, the more leaked you are, and the more money you spend on upgrading your lines. So, but anybody that doesn't have water, or didn't have water, and does have water now, can appreciate what it was like and understand more of what it's like when you don't have water. And when you're running out of water, your water's no good, or you got to go to the laundromat, you got to drink bottled water. It's not a good situation, but it's part of life, unfortunately. I guess that's the offsetting factor of being able to live out in the country where the air is fresh and your neighbors are not real close. But anyway, what we'll do is put it on the agenda next week, and then that way we can, we wanted to go ahead and have the hearing where everybody can give their input. And
This group doesn't need to come back and just Karen.
Right.
Right.
Just
Just wanted to clarify that.
Just the other Karen.
Yes, Rick.
Can I ask that the map be placed right there so maybe I could zoom in for those folks at home who can watch this who couldn't be here today, and just real briefly zoom in on it? I appreciate it.
Just hold it right here. Move the chair. Depends on how much zoom Rick's got.
Sorry.
Oh, I can zoom in.
That's what I was trying to.
Yeah.
That's okay. No, believe me, you can do that. You can do that.
Not very sweet, yeah.
That's okay.
Is there anything else that the commission needs from us?
Not this time.
We still need letters of, at the PSD office so we can get it with the application. And as Carrie said, If you have costs that you can include in that, pictures, that is an excellent thing. We really need them by May 10th, okay? And if you can't make it to our office during office hours, there's a payment slot right beside the door. Just drop them in that. We're very flexible.
Any other discussion on the issue? Well, thank you very much for your presentation. We have a 10 o'clock appointment with the county clerk to inspect the voting machines for the upcoming primary election. That's a 10 o'clock appointment, so I will recess this meeting. And we have one final item for discussion, action, approval, which is review applications for the James W. Curry Scholarship. I will recuse myself on the issue. And as I've recused myself from the very beginning of this matter, not even reading or reviewing any of the applications, reason being I have a blood relative that has made an application. So I do not want to impact in any way the decision of the commission.
And both other commissioners' applications have been whited out as well, so they cannot see any of the personal information on those applications either.
Correct. So I will recuse myself or remove myself from the room, and I will reconvene with you downstairs in the clerk's office.
All right. We'll find you down there.
So being that your information on the applications has been whited out, thereby number, of course. So I do have your votes in this envelope, and I looked at them. They are, in fact, the same. For boy, you both have chosen number 3, and for girl, you both have chosen number 9. However,
Great minds do run the same track.
you would have to vote on that.
Well, then I would move that we approve number 3, boy, and number 9, girl, for the James Curry Scholarship.
And I would second that, but I would like to say for the people out there that I read them applications over and over again. There was several good people that applied for that. Matter of fact, I was impressed with the younger group and the applications and all the things that they do for this community and volunteer work. It was hard to make a decision in reference to the applications because there were several of them so close, and I bet you I've read them at least 5 or 6 or 7 times. I just wanted to know it wasn't an easy decision to pick the numbers.
And we will, for right now, keep the applicants as a number. We will not announce names. The names will be announced at the award ceremony at the high school. I don't have a date for that as of right now, but that's when the winners will actually be announced.
And all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. We'll start testing the voting equipment.